Hi everyone, Amy here with Amy's Wares, and I'm going to make a cute Punny Love card using some goodies from Trinity Stamps. Now they recently sent me the stamp set and some other goodies. This is called It's Time for a Toast, or This Calls for a Toast rather, and here are some alcohol markers from 𝗷𝗚𝗄𝗆 if you want to take a screenshot. Here's a photo of the finished card that I made for my hubby. It's so cute and I love how it turned out. So I'm going to show you how I made it. Now I'm going to use Simon Says Stamp Intense Black ink, and the reason I chose that ink is because it's alcohol marker friendly. So you'll want to make sure, depending on whatever your project is, that you use the correct ink for the job, because if it's an alcohol based black ink, then it's going to kind of smear on you if you try and use alcohol markers. So make sure you use the correct ink, whether you're using a wet medium like a water brush pen or an alcohol marker. Here I'm just loading in the stamps and the optional cutie patootie faces, and I'm going to condition these stamps with my hand because they haven't been used before. If you're not familiar with this, when you get a brand new stamp, it comes out of manufacturing sometimes with a coating on it, and it can affect how well it stamps. So you'll want to condition it either with your hand or with an eraser, and it'll just kind of get better the more and more you use it. Now I'm going to stamp it a couple times just to make sure that I get a nice even impression, and then I will move on to the next step. I'm using my press tool that my friend Pat made for me, and I'm just kind of scribbling down the colors that I chose just to make sure I have them in the right order from light to dark. Now I typically will work light to dark in terms of coloring, or sometimes go back and forth, but usually I think a lot of people probably go dark to light. It's just a matter of preference. Now I also like to not use too many different colors. I just don't have the patience for it, and I also don't mind if it's not a perfect seamless blend. It's kind of my style to go a little bit scribbly and graphic. It's kind of how I like to color because it doesn't take a lot of time. It doesn't take a lot of back and forth, and I just ultimately like how it looks. So I'm just going through with some of the middle color and the darker color, and then I'm going to come through with the lightest and kind of cover the whole front of the toast, and then I will kind of work other colors back and forth. And I do obviously have this sped up. I don't want to keep you here all day, and I don't have the patience to do a voiceover for it if it's too long. I don't have that much patience. So as you can see, I'm kind of flicking the brush side from the two edges and leaving it kind of lighter in the center, and then I will come in with the dark, and then, like I said, do a little bit of back and forth, but not too much. Now on this very thin bit, I kind of went outside the lines. That's because I accidentally used the brush tip instead of the fine tip for the crust, but it was no big deal. I did end up grabbing the blending marker, the one that's 0 and basically pure alcohol here. You can see I'm going to use it kind of like an eraser. So when they call them blending markers, it's a little bit misleading because it makes you think that you can blend colors together, but it's kind of more like an eraser because it's essentially pure alcohol and it's going to dilute the ink. So use it more to kind of push the ink back inside the lines. If you came outside of it, a lot of times you'll get good use of it for that purpose. Now here I'm just kind of doing a little bit of speckling, a little bit of texture by putting some dots down with the brush tip, and these are the colors I'm going to use for the toaster itself. I just again have pink, which I'm going to use to do like a little rouge on the cheeks, which doesn't show very much on the toast sadly, but it does show quite well on the toaster. So coming in with the lightest color covering the whole front of the toaster, and then I'm going to come in with the little pink for the cheeks, and then work in, order of lightest to darkest, and do kind of the same thing that I did with the toast. So I have it sped up here. Obviously it took me a little bit longer than this, but I don't like to spend all day coloring. I enjoy it, but I don't love it to the point where I want to just be meticulous and spend too much time. I like images that are relatively easy to color, that are kind of cutesy and graphic like this, and where I don't need a whole slew of colors to choose from. So this is just kind of my messy style. I absolutely appreciate when other crafters take the time and do beautiful seamless blends. It's just not how I like to color. I'm kind of a quick and dirty, I guess, is how I like to color. And I don't even mind the streaks because I feel like, hey, it's like stainless. Let's be real. You got streaks on your stainless, unless you use Norwex cloths, and then you can use the polishing cloth all day, and then you won't have streaks. Anyway, I'm waffling on here. I'm coming in with a white gel pen just to kind of put some highlights, and then I put little dots on the toast itself, just again to add a little texture and interest. And then I'm going to fussy cut these out. I do believe there are coordinating dies in the shop. I'm not sure, but these are really simple shapes. So if you're not into fussy cutting, I feel like these are not difficult to fussy cut at all. I will tell you, get a good pair of scissors. These I always forget the name of, but I'll try and remember to link them below. If I forget, let me know in the comments. I will try and link all the products in the video description box if you expand and scroll down. If you follow my links, it's no additional cost to you, but it does help me out a lot. But the best tip I can give you with fussy cutting is turn the paper, not your hand, with the scissors. So that's one of the best tips I can give you with fussy cutting. And like I said, these are really simple, kind of big shapes, so they're not difficult to cut out. Here I'm showing you that even with a 120-pound accent opaque, alcohol marker is still going to kind of seep through to the other side of the cardstock. So I don't particularly have any paper in my craft stash that will not show alcohol marker seeping through the back. So just bear that in mind. If you're working with this type of marker, you wouldn't want to color directly on a card base because it would show through to the inside of the card. And if that bothers you, then you'll want to work on a separate panel or just kind of cut the pieces out like this. Now this really cool rectangle die is also from Trinity that they sent me. It's a nesting die. I'll link that below. There's 6 different sizes. I actually just chose the biggest one and cut that out in another sheet of the same sort of cardstock. Now here I'm using the heart from the stamp set, and I picked 2 colors of Catherine Pooler inks. I don't remember. I think it was Polished is the red one. I wanted it to look like strawberry jam and grape jam, since that's the sentiment I know that I'm going to use. So I'm going to go all over this card panel with the purple and the red. Red and purple isn't my favorite color combination. I'm not going to lie. It's not my favorite, but I feel like it's the best way to represent jam. So I'm going all over the card panel here, and then I will show you the next step in a little bit here when I decide to take it a step further. So here I'm just kind of getting a lay of the land, how I want to figure things out. And I'm going to use that scrap piece of paper to stamp You're My Jam. I love this sentiment. It might be my favorite one on the whole set because it's totally something that I say. I say that's my jam all the time. And I'm going to use the same 2 colors for the stamping of the sentiments. I'm going to use the red polish color to stamp You're My Jam, and then I'll use the purple one for the second sentiment. And again, you see I'm just conditioning the stamp with my hand to make sure that it stamps well. Here I was going to try and fit it on that same scrap, but I realized it was too long, so I grabbed another piece of scrap paper and stamp that, and I will ultimately cut those down into little sentiment strips. Now here I have this 3D embossing folder from Spellbinders. I'm going to emboss this panel off screen in my Spellbinders Platinum 6 just to give it some extra texture. As you know, I usually keep my cards more simple than this, but since this is for hubs, when I make cards for, you know, my people, I tend to go that extra step. So here I decided I want to add some color rather than leave the edge white. I want to really detail that fun die cut edge. So I'm just going to swipe the same ink pad, the purple one, right around the 4 edges. And I do have it kind of nestled into a piece of scrap paper. That way I don't get ink on the inside of the card base or kind of all over my work surface, since I am going direct to paper. Now I'm stamping this other sentiment. It says the crust, or the, sorry, I don't even remember what it says. I'll show you in a minute because I forgot what it says. Here I'm using the white gel pen again to put little highlights all over the little jammy hearts all over this card panel here. And then I'm going to use this thin foam tape that I get from scrapbook.com. This is 1 millimeter thick, so it's not super thick, but it is going to pop it off the background and give it a little bit of interest. I'm going to do 3 strips of that and then attach that to the card base that I did the ink blending on. So it'll show that nice matching purple color and really highlight the detailed edge around that panel. So I'm struggling a little bit here trying to do it over camera and not knock my head into the camera and shake it all about, but I do get it as straight as I can. And then again, I'm just kind of figuring out where I'm going to put the little pieces I do end up putting them in a different order, as you saw, but I do decide I want to go even further and take it to the next level with another product that was sent to me from Trinity Stamps. So when I'm done waffling about with this and figuring out where I want it to go, I am going to use these little action wobblers. These are mini ones, so it was perfect to fit on the back of the toast. And if I can ever get this package open, the little Ziploc on this is fierce. It took me a while. But I'm going to put these carefully on the back of the toast and then attach it down onto the panel. Now, I was a little nervous here. For one, I can never remember whether the hard plastic piece is supposed to go on the critter or on the panel. So let me know that in the comments if you know. But the reason I did it this way, I did the hard plastic on the back of the toast and the kind of more pliable plastic on the panel. The reason I did it this way is because there was so much texture from the embossing and I didn't want to risk it not adhering well. So I had more flexibility to really press that down into the embossed panel, and so I'm hoping that it won't come off. Now I use liquid glue to attach the toaster oven down, and I'm just using some acrylic blocks just to kind of weight that down while the glue cures. And then I have some thin foam strips that I got from Amazon, and I will put those on the back of the 2 cm strips just to kind of put those and give those a little bit of height over the toaster and a little bit of dimension. So that's going to finish the card here. You can see with the action wobbler, it's super fun. It moves around. I hope he enjoys this card. And it says the best is yet to crumb. So I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, please hit the thumbs up and consider subscribing. And I will catch you next time. Thanks for watching. Bye.